Let's discuss. Welcome first to this King's Bioproduction Academy. Let's discuss about the carbon cycle. We're speaking about carbon, which is in the atmosphere. We have another gas, which is the oxygen. During the process of photosynthesis, in the presence of light, what will be formed? Carbon dioxide will be formed as the end product of photosynthesis, right? From that point now in the atmosphere, it will be released either to oceans, and again it can go back to the ground. You should understand that carbon is a very moving gas. It's a very moving gas. It's not static. So it's moving from rocks, land, that is the soil, and even in the living organisms like us. Still we have carbon within our bodies. Let's check first the carbon. We are speaking about this carbon. Through the photosynthesis process in the presence of light energy, the plants will take and use this carbon dioxide in the process of photosynthesis. So we are saying carbon, oxygen, that is now in the presence of the light energy. Plants will photosynthesize using this carbon in the atmosphere. From that point now, the carbon which is in the plant will be taken by the animals through the feeding process. Animals, will feed on those plants, and on these plants, they will be taking with it what? The carbon dioxide. And this carbon dioxide, it's now in the animal tissues. This animal will undergo some excretion. We are saying they will excrete, which will undergo decomposition by the saprophytic bacteria and even the fungi, and even the same animals might die, even the same plants die, and they will release the carbon back to the ground. So you are saying it's a sequential process. Now once in the ground, this carbon dioxide, again we are saying its carbon dioxide is just in a move. It will not stay in the ground. It will move away from the ground back again to the atmosphere. It will move to which point? To the atmosphere. That is the first set of the carbon dioxide cycle. Another one, we have carbon released from the burning of the fossil fuels. We are saying what? Burning of these what? Fossil fuels. When these now, especially the industries, cars, trucks, which are using the oils, when they're burning those oils, the fuel, what will be released? It's the carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide will escape to the atmosphere. Too much of this carbon dioxide in the atmosphere will not be good. It will be taken again away from the atmosphere to the oceans. So we are saying from the atmosphere to where? The ocean. Some will just soak in water, and it will be there in the water bodies. And that's why we are saying carbon can be in the air, can be in the oceans, can be in the seas, can be in the soils, can be in the rocks, can be everywhere. So from that point, the importance for this one, if the carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere become too high, what will be the effect? The effect of this carbon dioxide in the atmosphere will cause something called global warming, because of the greenhouse effect. So we are saying excess will cause out the accumulation causes a greenhouse effect, and this one leads to something called global warming. And from that point now, this carbon dioxide still, we are speaking now in the oceans, we have those shelled organisms and even the bones of those aquatic organisms, like the fish. When they die, they'll die inside the water. So their bones, when they are being broken down, and even the shells of those organisms in the water, will release the carbon to the ocean. Then from that point again, we have the limestone. When they melt, let's say the temperatures are too high and they melt, they will release the carbon, because the limestone compound is always what? We are speaking about the what? Limestone compound. And this limestone compound, we are saying it will melt. Another name of melting, you can say, when they metamorphosize. So this, they will release the carbon dioxide back to the atmosphere. Each and every year, around 5.5 billion of CO2 is released in the atmosphere, and that is equivalent to 100 million of the adult elephants. So you can imagine the African elephant, that big elephant, 100 million, we are saying will be equivalent to the carbon dioxide that we are releasing to the atmosphere. These are very dangerous gas, especially in this era that we are at the moment. Pollution has taken place. Industrialization has caused much of the carbon flow in the atmosphere, and because of this one, we will experience some climate change, and this one is because of the global warming, and this can lead in the coming days, if we will not correct now, it will lead to something called desertification, and our land will turn. You see how the Sahara Desert behaves? If we don't correct, that is where we will be heading as a world. Thank you very much for that session.